Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
Coach.
Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. This is Jerry. This is a podcast about board games and the various other items that we choose to talk about. With me is my co-host, Gaby.
Hey.
Hey. So please like us on Instagram if you want to, Facebook, Twitter, and give us all those thumbs
clicks.
ups or on the iTunes. That's nice. We like
stars,
that. It's very
reviews,
helpful.
Emails.
I like emails.
Texts.
I'm big on emails.
Instagram likes. DMs. Slide into our DMs.
Dudley Tang.
Twitter.
He was emailing us.
Who?
Dudley Tang. He's the guy that was on the... he didn't email us. It's
Did
on
he
Instagram.
do right?
He was the... Get that. Dudley do
You
right.
do that? Is that old? Is that an old reference?
You have referenced yourself. I hate...
I referenced myself?
I hate...
Did you hear about Gaby?
When they make movies, and they remake them. Remember like when, was it Eddie Murphy that redid Dr. Dolittle?
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible. Well, wait a minute. Dudley Do-Right's the Canadian guy.
He's like a Mountie?
He's a Mountie. He kind of looks like Rodney Smith with a hat.
Right.
He goes around doing things that are right.
He does them right.
Why is
he does them correct?
Canadium?
Canadium, yes.
Canadium's the metal that's mined in Canada. Canadians.
Like an unobtainium
Yes.
from Pandora?
Yes. Why is Canadians and Canadiums synonymous with
what
doing
do they
right?
use? They use dollar bills, coins made from Canadium.
Well, that's how they power Canada.
That's how they
it's
get
through
their,
Canadium.
That's how they get their power
That
grid
maple
going.
syrup. I've never been to Canada.
They use Canadium and maple syrup, and that's how they get their energy and monetary units.
I want to go to Canada. It seems like a very nice place.
I've been to the Canadian side of Niagara Falls, and I've been to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a city?
Yes.
I think it's Toronto. Yes, I've been to Toronto. When I was, well, I'll strike that. I was at Toronto and the Canadian side of Niagara Falls when I was 12 years old. And my voice was very
squeaky.
Very high-pitched.
Very high-pitched.
Not like it is now.
Well, Dudley Tang, he messaged us on Instagram asking if we had played Black Angel. And, we have not played Black Angel.
I've watched a Dark Angel starring Jessica Alba back in her heyday. Did you watch that?
I have not.
You've never seen Dark Angel?
When you said that, I paused for a moment. I didn't know. Was that the 90s television?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then I didn't watch it.
She was kind of like super strong. She had some powers.
The only thing...
I don't remember what channel it was on.
The only thing...
But it was like one of the first of, back in the days of like... They got superpower TV shows.
The only thing I ever watched on Fox was The Simpsons, and I am so old that I remember.
Wow.
I remember when
I
The
wasn't
Simpsons
allowed.
used to be funny. Like they're not relevant anymore.
I wasn't allowed to watch Simpsons.
Why? Because you might eat your shorts.
I might eat my shorts and say, "Don't eat a cow" to my mom.
That was such a goofy outrage for a show.
No.
Oh, if you were a superhero, I don't like the whole everybody being super strong. What would be your superpower?
Really? Is that your question to me?
Knock it out of the park while I take a sip of my monkey shoulders.
What a generic question. What would be your superpower?
Yeah, well, what would it be, Mr. Generic?
Well, mine, I've thought deeply about this.
Okay, go.
Would be time control.
What?
So
you're just really good at not procrastinating?
I am very scheduled. I have schedules. I have schedules upon schedules.
I'm sorry. You mean like
I have a daily planner?
You're looking at your Back to the Future poster as you're saying that. You mean like you could go back and forth in time?
Yes.
No.
I could. You can't ask me what
I'm sorry.
superpower
You're right. I can't do that.
want, and then say no when I declare time control.
Even though it violates physics. Go ahead.
And flying doesn't.
No.
Turning invisible doesn't.
No.
Super strength doesn't.
No.
Telekinesis doesn't.
No. We can telekinesis. I can telekinesis whatever I want.
What about telekinephew?
That was not funny, but it was sort of... So you want to be able to go back and forth into time?
Yes, like the Prince of Persia. You get that reference?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I expected a little bit more from you.
Well, no,
but
I didn't really like the show.
I don't.
But so you think that, so like, like if you
wait.
drop something, you could be like, rewind.
Exactly.
Okay, that's
or
all.
Stop things.
Stop things.
If I'm fixing to get shot, I'll be like, stop. And I will walk around the bullet, pluck the bullet out of the air.
That freezes time. So you want to be able to freeze time.
Would that not be time control? Being able to stop, fast forward, or rewind time.
Well,
that would be my power. I am able to dwell within the elements of time.
Okay.
What don't you get? And that's when I came up with the idea of the flux capacitor.
From a moral standpoint, wouldn't that make you responsible for everything? Because, like, if you knew it was going to happen and you didn't wind it back, and you did nothing
Take
about
that,
it.
Rewind it back, drop down, flip it, and reverse it.
That would be your thing.
I thought about this because time control alleviates every possible scenario.
It does?
Superman can fly.
Yeah. So you can just freeze him in time.
Hold on. What makes that great? You can get from one place to another quickly,
yes.
Right? So as opposed to needing to get there quickly, I just say, stop. And I go from America to the other side of the world and say, okay, engage.
But you do know.
And time continues from that point on. And I have beaten Superman to that spot.
I want to just...
Although Superman can apparently reverse the rotation of the Earth.
And that will...
Because don't get me started on the
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Say you flip the switch.
This is a board game show. We'll get there eventually. But first, you have to endure our banter segment.
10 minutes of banter. So you can control time.
I am,
and so
like the comment. I'm Father Time.
So you stop time right now, like there's
TikTok.
So
I'm Father Time.
You stop time. Do you realize like? How would you get to where you're going? Because you can't ride on a vehicle.
It doesn't matter. I can walk there. I can walk to the other side of the earth.
You're going to walk to China?
Sure, why not?
How?
With legs.
You can't walk over the water?
Have you heard of the Arctic? I'll go up there.
There is no.
I literally just cross over the north.
There's just a lot about this that I'm not liking.
What?
It's just very cliche.
It doesn't freeze everything in amber. I'm simply stopping time as far as you're concerned. As far as I'm concerned, I'm good.
So do you age?
I can hop in a car.
Do you age when time is going on and not going on?
So you just freeze. So you haven't watched The Flash much.
I don't. I heard it's terrible and I don't watch TV.
I'm talking about the comic book in general.
I just know he runs really fast. Whatever. And stupid.
There's a time force. So if I have the time force,
you do,
then whatever I engage, like he can engage time force, and basically he stops everyone else, and he's like doing whatever, and everybody else is paused.
Mm-hmm.
But if I lay my hand on you, I can vibrate to a point.
So he's like some sort of creepy masseuse that comes along vibrating.
I will
people.
massage you into my own time. And then you too will be in my time.
No.
And so then, so whatever car I get in, I will vibrate to the frequency of that car. Then I can drive to China.
Got this Corolla.
And beat Superman.
We're going to get this thing vibrating and get it. No.
That's going to be a pimped out Corolla.
I like my Corollas. So we played a game here recently.
Are you hard merging?
No, I'm not hard
You're
merging.
just going.
No, I just paused time there for a minute. And I'm just We played a game the other day that to me is wonderfully flawed. And there's not many games that come out that really catch my attention. This one, and first off, let me throw this out here. We don't get review copies of games very rarely. Like,
you keep asking for them.
I ask for them because you know what? I have no shame.
We get every now and then we get somebody that's like, sure, because they don't know who we are.
Yeah, they think we're somebody because I really sell us. I write really good emails. Plaid Hat, who we don't like. They're any of their games.
How dare you?
Sent us a game.
Gen 7 was atrocious.
Plaid Hat, who's owned by Asmodee.
Dead of Winter, we did not care for.
Asmodee's like the biggest board game people ever.
Big game. Big gaming. Big board gaming.
Big Gaming sent us a game. Have we sold out?
And they don't know it.
Have we sold out?
We said we would.
We're thinking we might.
Give it to us.
They sent us a game, and I don't know if it was a jab at us, but it was called Abomination. So let me tell you about Abomination.
Abomination.
Suffocation. No breathing. I like Papa Roach. He used to he just would narrate things in such a deep voice. Why don't you do the Heimlich then? They don't call it the Heimlich anymore. The guy who it was named after. Now you have to call it something else.
Can you self Heimlich?
Yes, you can with a
How?
chair.
How do you do it? I need to know.
Okay. So
you know what? As a truck driver, I'm very fearful of choking on my lunch.
Okay.
Because I'm a lone person.
If you're choking,
Okay.
and the best thing would be is to throw yourself onto an object,
Okay.
onto an that would strike your abdominal area. That would
My stomach?
Yes, your stomach.
Okay.
So, like if you're home alone, you're watching Sex in the City.
Macaulay Culkin.
And
Oh wait,
yeah, and you're just,
Sex in the City.
yeah, that's what people who are like they.
What a weird thing to go to when you're home alone.
Well, I just assume that's what people do.
No, not me.
What do you watch when you're home alone?
The Flash.
Okay, when you're home alone and you're watching The Flash, and you've been choking on your, what are you eating?
Like I'm eating too
Malabars?
much.
What are you cheating?
No,
What are
chips
you-
and salsa.
Chips and salsa. You're choking on chips and salsa.
That chip went down the wrong way.
You just go into your kitchen. There's a chair, and you just jump onto the back of the chair. Just catch yourself.
Jump onto
right
the back
there.
of the chair.
Catch yourself right there, and you will Heimlich yourself
So like I leap onto the chair, like
Yes.
the back of the chair with my stomach.
with your stomach. That's the best, probably.
I don't see that working. I see the chair
It don't work.
collapsing under my weight.
No, you could do it. You'd make it because when you hit the ground,
Then
you'd be
I
all
fall
right.
flat.
But just don't catch your xiphoid process, your breastbone, the bottom
Mhm.
part of that, because then that could.
What's that connected to?
It's not connected to anything. Well, it's connected to a lot, but it will push into your liver.
I
And,
need my liver. It's already at 30%.
Well, then it would.
It's operating on a very.
It would be to 0%. But yeah, you can self Heimlich. You can self Heimlich.
Okay.
So with Abomination,
Abomination.
is a game about Frankenstein.
The heir of Frankenstein.
Not the air for which he breathes.
I find it interesting that in the American language, we have decided that HEIR is air, the same as AIR, like the air we breathe, and not hair, which is HAIR. How in the world do we learn the difference?
That's the Anglo-Saxon thing. And
Thank you,
Normans.
William,
Yeah.
Bill
Bill,
the Conqueror.
Edward, and all them guys messing us up. Our
Messing up.
language in English is really messed
It's
up.
crazy.
Here's something that often irritates me. It's not your forte. It's your fort. If you're good at something, it's your fort. Forte is a musical
It's
note.
not your forte.
It's a secondary pronunciation.
Where does forte come from?
It's a musical
Does it
note.
exist?
It's a musical note.
A forte is a musical
I
note?
believe so. It's your forte.
I did not know that.
Our forte at this podcast is not describing board games, but I will try. Abomination by
There
Plaid
goes
Hat
Jerry.
Games by
This is where I tune out.
Dan Blanchett.
Dan Blanchett.
I think he's a friend. That's a good one. I like that. Dan Blanchett. He's a first-time designer, I think. I've not seen any of his games before, but apparently, and I've emailed him back and forth, he has the same interest in Frankenstein that I do. Now,
I was listening. I was listening to Frankenstein on Audible.
love Frankenstein.
It was very good.
Love
I
it.
can't remember. It was very depressing.
It is depressing.
I think I got through maybe the first. Well, I got to, not spoiler alert. Now that you've read the book, I remember we discussed this on a previous podcast.
Right. I've talked about Frankenstein.
And now that you've read the book all the way through, I got to the point where his brother had been killed.
Spoiler alert.
Was it his brother?
I can't remember.
Somebody got
best
killed.
friend. His best friend.
And like a close family friend or
Yeah.
somebody had gotten
Pretty
accused of
much everybody gets killed.
it. So and it's like, but he thinks it's the monster.
And it is the monster.
The monster did it.
Yes. The monster did
It
it.
wasn't the butler.
No, it was the monster.
The monster
But
did
the
it.
monster doesn't have a name in this.
This is what I find fascinating. As we were playing this game, Abomination. It's got like these very elegant, philosophical, fluent quotes.
Yes, it's quotes from the book.
And Jerry says they're often made by the monster.
Yes, the monster was very verbose.
If you watch normal movie or TV shows,
And
Frankenstein's monster goes,
not loquacious.
but here the monster's like, I say, oh boy,
Well,
what you doing?
so,
I require a bride.
You've kicked
You shall make it for me.
You're killing me.
That's
You're
it.
killing me. You're killing me.
That's what he says.
So in Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus, the book,
Wait, what?
that's what it was called. It was,
The modern Prometheus?
I believe so. I have been drinking
So
monkey
there's
shoulders.
xenomorphs?
No, before Ripley Scott.
Before Daisy Ridley?
Yes. Before Alien. That was the name of the book, I believe.
Before Ray?
So with Frankenstein, the actual oh man,
There's a lot.
You've
There's a lot.
split me up here. Do
I
I want to
know.
talk about the book or do I want to talk about the game? I want to talk about the game. I want to talk about the game.
Wait, no. First, talk about the book.
Okay.
Because I think knowing the book will help the game.
Yes. So this 18-year-old girl wrote one of the first and best science fiction novels of all time.
Well, they're not even really sure of her age.
Yeah, it's like 18, 19 years old.
18, 19, but she was very young.
very, very young.
Mary Shelley.
And yeah, Mary Shelley had
Shelley.
had a very hard life. And
Shelley,
she wrote this book
Shelley.
at a time where galvanism was something that was going on. And galvanism,
That's where you make galvanized metal.
you're close. Luigi
Okay.
Galvanini.
Luigi of Mario's brother.
Yes. Galvanini, something like that. Galvanini. He invented galvanized iron.
Wow.
And
I'll be Dan.
he also hooked up frogs to electrical currents. So, because so hang on, Hank, stay with me. This is
trying. It's kind of hard.
so because frogs would twitch when they would be next to certain metals. He hypothesized that the muscles created electricity or something of that nature. I can't remember, but basically what happened is for a little bit, a lot of the scientific and medical community went about doing some, some pseudoscience where they would hook up frogs and dead bodies to electricity, and they would shake and move about. And of course, they would think, "Oh, we're bringing about life." And so that's really what he created. That's really what was going on. And galvanism was sort of what was addressed, I believe, in Frankenstein. That this is how the monster came to be living. It's not really brought about in the book. But essentially, not to spoil anything, but Victor Frankenstein, which is Frankenstein's not the monster, Frankenstein creates this monster and then rejects it. It scares him. He didn't really understand what he was doing, so he didn't want to take responsibility for this monster. The monster then, middle of the novel, goes off and starts observing humans and seeing what's going on and really becomes distressed that everybody's rejecting him. And so after being rejected by these people in this village that he had been watching and helping, he becomes distressed and he wants Victor Frankenstein to make him a bride, an heir, somebody that would love him. And of course, Victor says he's not going to do it. And so the monster goes around killing all of Victor's family and friends. And that's really where the book kind of picks up, is this whole, I don't want to get into a philosophical discussion about it, but basically,
You're far away from the mic. Lean closer.
thank you for that.
There you go.
I like that. That's what you added into this conversation. You're further away from the mic. Anyways, I love Frankenstein. I really like the book. It was ahead of its time, and there really hasn't been that great of an adaptation, a popular adaptation of it. With that being said, when I saw this game, my first thought was, why in the world would anybody make a game with this theme? And also, would they do it correctly? Oh, I don't need any more.
Huh?
What?
You good?
I'm good. Thank you. Monkey Shoulders is our favorite cheap whiskey, by the way.
Scotch.
This is a scotch.
It's a scotch.
It's a scotch,
A blended
which is,
scotch.
did you just lick the lid?
No.
Okay.
I was trying to wipe it off.
Okay.
It's a blended malt scotch whiskey.
It's not very
is-
smooth.
No, it's not very smooth.
It lets you know you're drinking.
I bought it for like $30.
I feel fire.
I feel fine.
But in Abomination,
Abomination.
you are picking up.
Okay, so where are we getting this from? Abomination.
Okay, because the monster has
Because I want to say whatever rhymes with that, like constipation, frustration.
the monster doesn't have a name.
Constipation does lead to frustration.
The monster doesn't have a name.
Okay.
So you just
Is it called the Abomination?
No, it's not.
It's just called the monster
it's
in the
just
book.
the creature. It's just the creature.
Okay. Go ahead with whatever you're going to say, and then I will add to it with flair.
In Abomination, you are the heir of Frankenstein. You have
Not
been
the hair.
the hair. The hair.
Does he have hair?
I would assume so.
I wish I had hair.
You have been captured by Frankenstein's monster, and you are being forced to make it a
Frankenstein,
spouse.
often depicted as the monster.
It's not.
He's the doctor.
He's the
that
doctor.
creates the monster.
The
We've
creature.
discussed this previously, but I did not know that.
Yes, and I could tell by your blank look when I said that earlier. So you're trying to basically create the monster, or are you?
What?
You can also stifle everybody else's progress.
I love stifling.
Yeah, I do too. And making the monster, and do other things that kind of speed the game along, but also kind of helps you determine that you're the good guy. Like you do things that are beneficial to the world, I guess. In Abomination, you have 3 tracks on your player board. You have your humanity, you have your reputation, and you have your expertise, much like in life. Right. Your humanity, if you go out and do things that are against humanity, it goes down, and that, of course, can cost you victory points at the end of the game. Your reputation, as it gets higher or lower, you get more workers to utilize because this is a worker placement. Placement.
What kind of placement?
Thank you, Sean. What do you think about the 25th Bond?
I hope it's good. I hope it's not another Quantum of Solace or whatever that last one was.
Spectre. I didn't like Spectre. Really, I think that Skyfall was probably his best
like
next to
peak.
Casino Royale.
Casino Royale is, well, like it's a joke, but they're like every other Bond is good.
It is. It's just how well, that's what happened with Pierce Brosnan. GoldenEye was a hit. Tomorrow Never Dies was terrible. Die Another Day was great. I think it was the Die Another Day. Yeah, and then the next one
was that the one with Madonna?
No. The next one was with you're talking about Halle Berry.
Oh yeah.
That was terrible. Terrible. Who you think should be Bond next?
Okay,
Idris Elba. Idris Elba's the name you're looking for.
I would love to see Idris. He's basically Bond in everything.
What's the guy that's Thor's brother? You made me watch that Marvel thing.
Loki?
That guy. Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston?
He should be Bond.
Well, I mean, the thing is, people want something different other than a British white guy.
No, well, that's why I said Idris Elba.
Idris Elba would be freaking awesome.
I would watch that and be satisfied.
You put Idris Elba in anything, and I'm watching it.
I cannot tell you the restraint that kept me
Luther, I'm in.
From watching that Fast and the Furious 15.
Oh,
just because because Idris Elba was in it.
He was probably the best part of that show.
I went and watched that's not a rom-com, it's that romantic show, The Mountain Between Us, just simply because it had Idris Elba, and I was not disappointed. That was like the only romantic show I've ever watched in the theaters.
What?
Yeah, I don't watch rom-coms or even romantic.
Do you and your wife go on date nights?
Not really. We used to every once in a while.
What happened? You say you used to.
Well,
that makes me think you used to go.
We realized that we're both introverts and that we would rather just spend time at home reading and
alone,
talking about things.
What do you like to read?
She's into novels big time. Like, she will read biographies. Like right now, I think she's finishing up a book, the biography of Sally Fields. Sally Fields, an excellent actress. I
know that.
I think her best work was in Lincoln.
Cannonball Run.
Lincoln.
Oh.
With my man, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
He should be Bond. Daniel Day-Lewis should be Bond. That would blow us all away.
He's a little too old.
I don't care. He could be the old Bond. You just know he could do it.
He would get so into character, he would have to join the government.
He could do it. Daniel Day-Lewis could do it. But that will never happen. He's retired.
But equally as awesome, Idris Elba.
Oh. All right. Here's my rankings. Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, or Hiddleston. Or Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict?
Yes. I never can't pronounce his name.
Benedict Cumberbatch will probably be last because he's along the lines of Pierce Brosnan to me.
Best Benedict Cumberbatch movie.
No, wait. Hold on. It would be... You listed them in the ranking I would give them.
Okay, go ahead.
It would be Idris. Idris carries himself. He's tough. I like the way he walks. It's awesome. I notice the way people walk. Do you ever notice the way Denzel walks? He has the coolest walk.
Yes, Denzel has the coolest walk.
He walks with like I wish I could walk like that.
Do it.
I walk with shame and embarrassment.
You do. Every time I see you, I think there goes a man who's
have
mildly
zero
depressed
confidence in
and
myself.
not confidence.
It's sad.
Maybe you should walk with your eyes upward. Just look straight up.
No, I'm always looking down and hoping you're not looking at me as I walk.
You're not Idris Elba.
I wish I was, but I'm not. My favorite what? Benedict Cumberbatch movie?
Yes.
I don't know many of them.
Imitation Games.
I've never seen
the correct answer.
Never seen it.
Okay, go ahead. That's enough. That's the guy who invented computers.
I know.
Alan
I
Turing.
saw the trailers for the movie.
You should watch it.
I don't
love
like
that show.
true stories.
Do you like?
I live.
Do you like True Lies?
I do. I do.
I got you there.
I do.
I'm so witty.
Give me Tom Arnold and Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't like true story movies. Perfect Storm. I took my father-in-law to
boring
20 years ago, and he was insistent on talking out loud to me, and he tried to open up these caramel popcorns we snuck into the movie, but they were really loud. Like he was sitting there, he's trying to open up. I'm like, Bobby, come on, open it, hurry up. And he just kept crinkling it and crinkling it. I was like, oh,
you feel like you're about to die.
And then he keeps whispering to me, "Is like, oh, I don't think it took place that way. I don't think it took place that way at all."
That George Clooney's a handsome man.
How do they know that's what happened? I'm like, they don't. This is based on true events. That's all they need to know. But Benedict Cumberbatch, my favorite movie of his that I have seen, because I have not seen any of his, would have to be Avengers Endgame. That's it. I don't know him anything other than...
What? He was in Avengers?
He is Doctor Strange. Did you not know that?
No.
He's Doctor Strange. Now...
He's in Avengers.
Now, know that he is Doctor Strange. So he's like... has control over the dimensions.
Oh, he's the dude. Yes, I'm sorry. He's the... I didn't realize he was an Avenger.
He's very important
he did that
in the comic books.
Yes. Okay.
But in the comic books, in the movies, I could see him being a next Tony Stark because he has the...
Stony Stark?
Stony Stark.
Go ahead.
I can see him taking control of that role.
Wow.
But they're trying to make it Spider-Man. Not Superman, Spider-Man.
Which Sony has been watching that for
Sony took away.
They brought it back. They brought it back. They brought it back. Can I get us back on topic?
Hard merge this back into
I really want to talk about Abomination.
All right, go ahead. We need to get down to it.
Because Abomination, to me...
Because I really enjoy this game despite its many flaws.
So... let's talk about that.
This version of the game.
Why is it that some games we can overlook the flaws, but in certain games we acknowledge the flaws, but we still like the game despite it? And
there's some games we hate so much we quit before we even finish.
So let's go back to Tapestry just briefly. Tapestry is a fluid game, but it has so much stuff and things that don't actually meld well. This is my theory, that it really irritates us. With Abomination, it is a worker placement. It is a very solid worker placement.
Yes.
That is the main mechanism. Good on you, Mr. Blanchett, for making a very tight worker placement.
Tight?
Now, as you play the game...
I'm just going to be a hype man. I'm just going to reiterate things you say. Go.
You're kind of like what's his name? The guy that says
Lil Jon?
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I was thinking Little John. I just snapped my fingers and you go, what's that guy? You know that.
Okay.
This is when you know we've been doing this for too long. What?
Go ahead. And I will reiterate you.
In Abomination, the worker placement is so tight. And what you're trying to do, I'm going to keep a straight face throughout all this.
Stop pounding on the thing is all I'm going to ask because I hear it reverberating through my headphones.
And you need more snare in them?
It may not come through on this, but I can hear it.
So, in Abomination, you are literally, and this is very macabre, it's very dark.
Macabre, I like that.
That just came out of nowhere.
That's good.
You are collecting parts to build basically the monster a a spouse, somebody to associate with.
Esposa.
So as you're going along, you're placing your workers out on this board, and you can either go to the cemetery to dig up bones, you go to the morgue.
Digging up bones.
You're basically piecing together this monster. And that's
this game is not PC.
Yeah, this is a very dark theme for what it is. And so as you're playing the game, you're placing your workers out there, and there's two types of workers. You have your assistants that can go to some places, and then you have your actual scientists, which are more powerful, and they can go teach at the academy, and they get money and expertise. And then the second phase of the game is you using the parts that you collected to piece together a monster. And then if you've completed parts of the monster, throwing the switch, so to speak, the electrical switch, and trying to galvanize, trying to shock to life this monster, which gives you victory points. Rinse, dry, repeat goes on for about 12 rounds. Now, what's fascinating about this is that the other player can play completely disconnected from the aspect of building the monster. They can actually focus on their humanity, doing good things, hindering the other players, helping the captain to kind of, if you're, spoiler alert,
volunteering.
The captain is the guy who's like at the end of the book in Frankenstein. It's like the guy who sees what happened with Victor and the monster. And now the captain is out to seek revenge on the monster, to kill the monster.
He's after him.
So you can help the captain, which actually speeds the game along and helps you out, because it helps if you're humanity, if you're trying like to be the good guy, you're out there trying to end the game quickly so that the other people can't put together the heir of Frankenstein, put together the
TCB,
the spouse of the monster.
I suppose so.
So thematically, this game is off the charts.
It's very good. They have a story that each round you draw an event card and you read this story-like part of the tale, and you have to, whoever is in first player position usually has to make a decision.
Right. And then there's, in the back of the rule book, there's an appendix where you read, sometimes it gives
like
you a
near
choice.
And far.
Yes, it's very similar to near and far in that you'll ask the player, like there was one event that says, okay, does the first player, does he want to do this or does he want to do this? And you pick one, and then you read in the back of the rule book what happens. Sometimes it's very beneficial, sometimes it's not. And I like that. It adds a lot of flavor to the game. The artwork in this game is very evocative of the dark subject matter. And it's like, it really seems like they captured Frankenstein perfectly with not only the artwork, but the gameplay, everything involved. And just to go over briefly what we did in our game, Gaby really took that route of being all about humanity and not doing anything bad. And what I mean by bad is in this game, you're basically collecting organs. And this is the 1800s London. Where do you get organs?
You can basically play the character of Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
And kill people and collect them from the cemetery, dig up graves, go to the hospital, steal corpses, whatever it requires.
Gotta get them parts, man.
Get them parts.
I need your kidneys.
I need them parts. Or you could be like me and be like, you know what? My old boy, I may need a part or two, but I'm going to get them in a respectful way.
Right. So like Gaby went the route.
You don't need those at the hospital? I'll take those off your hands.
Yes. Gaby went the route of making his monster piece together through legitimate means and increasing his humanity, his reputation, and his expertise.
I got all of my, there's three different, there's humanity, reputation, what's the other one? Expertise. And it's like a heart, it's your humanity. Ribbons,
like your reputation,
reputation, and brains is your expertise. And you have to have a certain amount of expertise to even create these parts as Frankenstein. Or actually, you're not Frankenstein in the
heir of Frankenstein.
You're the. I ran all of those up to their max. They create bonus points. And if you're the first to get there, much like Terraforming Mars, they have these milestones. If you're the first to get the most humanity, you get bonus points. If you're the first to get expertise, you get bonus points. If you're the first to get, what's the other one? Humanity?
Yeah, well, there's
expertise.
There's different bonus tiles, so it manages
reputation.
each game. Each game changes.
Oh, okay. How to know that? but I was the first to get all 3 of those. And then I also had the most money at the end, which gave me bonus points. So I saw Jerry. Jerry was very well ahead of me on creating the monster. He had the full monster on his board.
I almost completed the monster in its entirety before the game ended. And I think that's interesting is that the game was very tight, even though we went separate routes.
Yes.
Because Gaby focused on maintaining his humanity, which only thing I did was I got my expertise up to create the monster, and then I went after. If I had to go to the dark alley and clap somebody to get their spleen, I did it. I was.
You don't have to spleen to me.
No. I get what you did there. You know, a spleen, you don't really need it after you become an adult.
Why's that?
Because it's used to filter, I believe, when you're younger, like toxins out of your blood. But when you get older, like a spleen it's kind of like your appendix. It's a vestigial organ, something you don't need. They used to think that you didn't need your appendix at all, but I think here recently they've come to find that it has some benefits in terms of good bacteria in your system.
Mm-hmm. I've got all my organs.
You have all your organs?
Do you?
Yeah, I've never lost a spleen or appendix.
I haven't either. I haven't lost my appendix. Give you tonsils?
No, I still got my tonsils.
I do too.
So you're whole.
Wisdom teeth?
I had to have my wisdom teeth removed.
Me too.
But mine was like, here's the deal.
We're equal.
Here's what happens. Here's what happens when you have a ignorant dentist and he doesn't really
When you say that, do you say like ignorant?
Ignorant
dentist.
As in he was both ignorant and inert in that he did not do anything about my wisdom teeth. And so when you're 30 years old and you have to have your wisdom teeth removed because you thought that your wisdom teeth were fine,
right? And
then you go to a reputable dentist and they go, you have an abscess and you have teeth going down into your jaw and you have to have this major orthodontic surgery. And then you discover the wonders that are lower tab. And realize that opens your heart and mind to many things.
I love medicine.
Yes. And wisdom teeth are terrible.
I had my wisdom teeth taken out when I was probably at the same time, probably about 30, 31, 32, somewhere around there. And I got dry socket though.
Oh.
So I was getting pain meds for a good long while. Constipation. Abomination. It was not a good time. But like I could see like these medicines make me feel good, but I can't use the bathroom. So it was like a fine line. Finally, my wisdom teeth stopped hurting, and I got taken off the Vicodin, whatever they were called.
Vicodin?
Lower tab.
The only 3 things
Same
you need.
thing. Hydrocodone. They were hydrocodones, not 7.5s. They were at 10.5s.
The only 3 things you need. Vicodin, wild turkey, Kevin Costner.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Dances with wolves with my wisdom teeth taken out.
Yes.
Tatanka, game over.
Abomination in terms of its gameplay is solid. In terms of
it's strictly it's a worker placement.
I'm out.
You got your dudes, you place your worker. I don't know. Let me pause the podcast.
Don't pause it. Just pour me a little.
You place your worker, you do the action. You also have a personal player board.
I love the personal player board. It reminds me of a personal pan pizza. Just a little, please. I think that Abomination, in terms of theme and mechanics, is awesome. And so now that we've talked so much about it, in terms of the actual what's good about it, I'd like to focus a little bit on what is wrong with it.
We focus on the pros, super thematic. Gameplay is ultimately easy once you learn the worker placement.
Yes.
But the negatives.
All right, here's the 2 strong negatives about it.
Okay.
One, it's a little bit fiddly, but this is Gaby's complaint.
Gumbies?
In terms of the cubes that you utilize to represent your resources. And when I say resources, I mean...
You mean flesh.
Organs.
Flesh,
I realize,
bone, blood.
I gotta stop this here and just say that I've realized that sometimes when I'm around people and they start asking about what I do for work, there are certain people that will ask me, what's like the worst thing you've ever seen?
Well, you don't want to know.
And I start telling stories.
Truthfully, you don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've told some stories. And I realize that it generally happens when we're eating. Like when we're out and about and people are talking and someone will say, that sounds like it's such a hard job. Here's a shout out to all of our people in our communities that don't realize that we have a lot in this country, a lot of volunteer firemen. A lot of people live in areas where they don't realize that their volunteer fire department is what protects them, is what shows up at their home.
Yeah.
And it's people who aren't getting paid.
Volunteer.
They are volunteer.
Like literally, I'm not getting paid. I just want to help.
Like literally.
There are people with good hearts.
Yes, at midnight when the alarm goes off.
Wait. Do you volunteer?
Yes, I still volunteer.
You don't have a good heart.
I don't have
so
a good
why
heart.
do you volunteer?
Adrenaline. I absolutely love using an axe and chopping down stuff. And there is nothing funner. If you, let me just say this right now.
It's not because he cares. It's because it gives him a rush.
I don't care. The funnest thing I've ever done in terms of just pure enjoyment is being in a burning building or using heavy equipment. Because in my regular job, here's the thing.
I got you.
Okay,
Go ahead.
So here's
Gourd head.
This my wife gives me a lot of flack about this. If somebody will ask, like, what do you do for a living? I don't say I'm an administrator for some. Right. I don't say I'm a nurse because they always say, so you're a male nurse. No, there's no difference. You're not a female nurse or a nurse. You're just a nurse. You're just an RN. I often will say, well, I did that, but I will fit in that I was a paramedic firefighter type thing just so that I make sure that they understand, like, hey, I'm manly. I get to blow stuff up every once in a while. And I think it's a nice release. Like I sit in an office all day and I look at numbers and stuff. And then every once in a while, in the middle of the night, the alarm will go off. That call. And I'll get to go out. And I will get to use the jaws of life to split open your Ford Explorer. And that is cool. That is so fun. And so, two things. One, support your local volunteer fire department. Two,
because they're doing it for nothing.
They're doing it for nothing.
Literally for nothing. But I appreciate that.
But the adrenaline.
It is for Jerry.
There is nothing funner.
The glory.
And God forbid you actually save somebody.
No,
I don't have the time to talk about.
There's a Hope Brian Regan skit. Do you know Brian Regan? He's a comedian.
Oh,
you don't know
I'm
Brian
sorry.
Regan?
No, I've heard the name. I've heard the name. I can't picture him.
He has a whole skit about being a hero. And he discusses Sully, the pilot.
The guy who landed in the Hudson.
He's like, and you can't, if you're a hero, if they interview you, you cannot say you're a hero. They say, so do you know what you just did? No, I was just doing what any man would do.
Have to say that.
Well, you're a hero. What? He's got a whole skit. It's hilarious. You cannot ever acknowledge what you just did was heroic. You have to act like it was no big deal. You were doing what any other man would do.
I think I might be the only person in history to ever do that actually say, yeah, I'm a hero. So years ago, this car went. Here we go. This car went over.
This is what we're going to end the podcast with. Just FYI.
Oh, wait a minute. Abomination's good.
Get it. But there might be a shorter variant coming out.
Oh, wait a minute.
We strongly suggest you wait for the shorter variant.
This game is... All right, so the two things. Number one, it's very fiddly.
Very fiddly, especially when it comes to collecting the flesh.
Gaby didn't like that part.
It was too
Number
much.
two, it's very long. It was 2 to 2.5 hours with just 2 players.
2 players. It's going to be very long if you have AP.
There is a variant on BGG the designer's working on. I've emailed him back and forth a little bit about it.
Hurry up, Dan.
I really think that the game would be
love the game.
better if it was shorter.
Very thematic. I love this game. No, I love this game. That's crazy to say, but I did.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed this game.
I could tell that you were like, anytime we're playing a game, I often gauge like my like of it. Am I the one liking the game? Or are we both liking the game? Or is Gaby liking the game? And I could tell Gaby was really feeling this game. And it was just the idea of it being resource management, but at the same time, there was 2 paths to victory. And the two paths were very delineated.
I saw you going a certain way. I purposely went another way.
Correct. Yeah. It was like, I'm going to make the monster. And you're like, well, I'm not. I'm going to see if I can win this other route.
And I remember you telling me when you were explaining the game, I remember you telling me, you can play this game without doing any of this.
Yes.
And I thought that was fascinating.
And there's a little bit of story that's behind it, the choices that you can make. It's very long. I will say that if you're into Frankenstein, if you're into the games that are very, particularly have a dark theme, this kind of the scarier games, whatever.
I wouldn't play it with your 10-year-old children.
Because, you have to explain that this purple cube is a liver.
You're collecting these body parts. You're digging them up either from a grave, you're collecting them from a morgue, or you're murdering someone.
You're not murdering somebody. It just says dark alley.
You're going to the dark alley.
It doesn't know. You're going to the dark alley to pay somebody.
Maybe they just pass out and you harvest their organs?
No, you're going to the dark alley to buy organs from off the black market.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
What you got in arms today? You got an arm today?
I really need some quality phalanges.
So you have to collect these body parts. You have a head, torso, arms, and legs.
Correct, as most people do.
You have to collect all those. Then in the long game, you have to not only collect all those in their raw state, then you have to
flesh them out. Flesh them out. Complete them. I'm sorry.
It's so dark, but funny. It's a great game. It's very long. He's working on either a variant or maybe he will come out with a short version.
He sent me a variant of a shorter version that I really want us to try because I think it will tone the game down. Like I said, 2.5 hours of this was long.
It was very long.
But here's how I knew Gaby enjoyed it. When it was done, I was timing it and I said, it took us 2.5 hours to play this game. And Gaby says, we played this for 2.5 hours? Like it didn't seem that long. I'm like, oh yeah. So I know you were into it.
I had no idea it was 2.5 hours.
And it's very fluid. It's very
fluids.
There is fluids in it. But yeah, it's a weird game. It's certainly something odd.
It's a dark theme if you're gothic. If you enjoy dark themes.
What do you say? It's like what?
If you like Billie Eilish, you will enjoy this game.
Are you in the Insane Clown Posse? What branch?
If you like Billie Eilish, ICP, you will enjoy it. It's I really like this game.
What? Are you joining the Insane Clown Posse? Tell me now.
It's good. It's good. It's a good game.
So, all right. So let me tell you how I'm a hero. There was this one time, there's this guy in our fire department that was a diver. He dove, as in he would scuba dive. He's the one that got me into scuba diving. And this car fell off this bridge. Long story short, we were looking for this vehicle that reportedly fell off a bridge in the rain thunderstorm that was going on, that we didn't even know if this information was correct. Somebody
that's what happened in Smallville. That's like how Clark found legs.
Okay, so I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I don't watch Smallville. Anyways, this was reported. We never could find it. Long story short.
Wait. So a car fell off a bridge. Y'all went to search for the car. You could not find it.
We couldn't find it. And then as we were calling it off, of course, one of our volunteers happened to be a little more diligent. He saw what he thought was a tire sticking up out of the water.
Wow.
So in this rainstorm, which I hate water, I'm terrible at swimming. I don't like being in the water.
As does Bruce.
Me and several other firemen went down this hill, and one of them jumped into the river, swam underwater, went into a vehicle, and pulled a woman out of the vehicle.
Wow.
Like superhero type stuff. Like something that, and it was like one of these things of like, he literally saved this woman's life.
That's amazing.
And I just happened to be there offering encouragement, I guess.
You can do it.
So by the time it got spread around, like there was more things that took place that, long story short, they decided that we were all heroes. And it wasn't this guy was a hero.
You were the David Dunn of the show.
Yes, I was there. I happened to be there.
I'm here, but I'm allergic to water.
Yes. And so later, it was like the woman really remembered me. I don't know why she remembered me. I guess because he dove in and drug her out, and then it's
first thing she saw was you.
I was the paramedic who was like, "Are you all right? Something's broken." Blah 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 blah.
Wow.
And I was kind of more bombastic, and so this guy was really more sedate and
Mr. Boombastic.
Yes. And so when it was over, she was like, "Oh yeah, these guys saved my life," and she just remembered all of us. Wow. And so like. She's talking about all of us, and everyone's like, "How's it feel to be a hero?" And like the guy who actually jumped into the water was like, "Well, I was just kind of, all I did was just kind of go under. I just kind of did what I think. I just swam underneath, and then I went through the window.
I did what I needed to do.
And they're like, "So, what do you think?" I was like, "Yeah, well, every day you wake up, you put your pants on, you think, today's day I'm gonna save a life." You should put my pants on. It's like I was the guy that literally just stood by and watched, but yet I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a hero every day, every day." And then
I don't need another hero.
That's a good Food Fire song, "Hero."
It's a Tina Turner song as well.
I love Tina Turner. My dad loved Tina Turner.
Who doesn't love Tina Turner?
Steamy windows.
She's highly attractive, and she's 80 years old.
And you dated yourself once again. We're old enough to think that Tina Turner was attractive, that Simpsons were good. This is the Board Game Snobs podcast. We need 5 stars on iTunes if you use an iPhone.
Rate us.
If you have an Android, what does Android do?
I don't know. I don't have one.
If you don't have an iPhone,
take over the world as far as Terminator's concerned.
Go use Skynet, get on Reddit, and talk about us because we really need more people to listen to this podcast. Talk about us. The more people that listen to us, the more joy we spread in the world, and we're heroes.
We don't need another hero.
This is Jerry.
This is Gaby.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.